Welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. I want to welcome you here for another week at the channel. And if this is your first time with us, I want to thank you for stopping on by. My name is Fujica and I serve this community as a business mentor. So if you were with us last week, you already know we are continuing the conversation on converting your inquiries into actual clients. So last week, just to recap, I talked you through some instances, just some tips on how you can set yourself up for success. And then I provided you with the following 3 tips. First, we talked about developing some type of client relation management tracking system. The second thing we talked about is making sure that we have contact information, and this is as full as we can get. You want to make sure that you can create a complete client profile. And so making sure you have the name, the phone number, who is the person that's requesting or requiring care, making sure that you have a good email for them, an address, things of that nature. And if at the end of that call, it's so very important, if at the end of the call it doesn't turn into something more solid, even if it's just a home visit, then when is a good time that I can follow up with you? So that was the second tip. And then thirdly, we talked about creating scripting. So the scripting will help guide you along in the conversation as you have that most important potential client on the line. So let's transition to this week's tips. The 4th tip that I have for you is determining how quickly they are looking to start services. This is uber important, okay? Because if a person is looking to start care right away, then that should be your signal to go full force, right? So you'll start seeing, the more you start filling people out, the more you start having conversations, you know when people are a little apprehensive, they're a little shaky, they're not so sure. But if a person is telling you they are looking for services right away, you want to make sure that you get real sturdy in that conversation, get your feet beneath you, and make sure you close that deal. So how do you do that? The person says that they want to start right away. Your response should be great. So if that person tells you, if you are lucky enough for that person to tell you that they are looking to start right away, then you can start really going into asking questions about their history. You know, if they're looking for care right away, is this their first time looking for care? Is this the first time that they will be in someone else's care? Are they just coming home from a hospital stay? These are just kind of questions you can understand a little bit more about the situation. As that person is talking, you're either writing this stuff down or you're typing it into your relationship management system so that you can start building that case profile, that client profile that will help you build your relationship with your client. The 5th tip, and I don't want y'all to let me down on this one, if a person is telling you that they are getting ready to start right away, you should be trying to set up an in-home visit, okay? So that is tip number 5. Setting up that in-home visit. Why do you need to visit? Well, you want to tell them a little bit, you want to connect with them in person to tell them more about yourself and your agency. You want to find out a little bit more about them and see the environment in which you will be providing care. So if you already have the home care aide that you're thinking you're going to assign to that person, that would be a great time to bring them with them. You know, bring this person with you. If you can. I know that doesn't always permit, but it's just a nice touch to say, hey, this is the person that will be taking care of you. If there are any questions that caretaker may have or that client may have, you can kind of start seeing that relationship build and meld right then and there during that visit. Now, if for whatever reason, let's say you don't want to do that, you don't want to have your home care aide, you don't want to have your home care aide with you, you're not trying to pay them until you actually have started with the client, I totally get that. Maybe a picture of that home care aide with a bio, letting the client know, hey, this is Fujica, and Fujica is going to be taking care of you. Here's a little bit more information about her if you are interested. So see, that's something that you can place in your marketing folder. Now, do not forget, I have done a video on what are some items that you want to place in the marketing folder, And I've also done a video on what items do you want to place in the client folder that you're retaining in your office. I will make sure both of those are cards at the top and linked in the video description for additional resources for you. But you want to make sure that you're setting up, you want to make sure that you secure that time that you can come in. And listen, we don't want to set that visit out 2-3 weeks from now. No, you want to get in there as soon as you can. You know why? Because if they've called you, chances are they've called other people, and they may continue making phone calls after they hang up with you. So you really want to make sure that you pick that right fruit and get in there right away. Okay, the sixth tip I have for you, I'm kind of going to show off my call center experience here. You want to recap the key points, you want to confirm the conclusion, and close the conversation. So, what does that look like? Ms. Fujica, and this is another tip for you, because some people are a little bit more traditional. They want you to call them, whether it's Mrs. Polino, Ms. Polino. So this is another thing you might want to just make sure you understand, because you definitely don't want to offend someone that might make the person, it may turn them completely off and not want them to do business with you. That is something we can find back to step 2 when we're asking them for their information. But let's just say that this person is okay with you calling them Fujica, okay? So, Fujica, thank you so much for taking my call today. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Looks like we're going to be coming to your home on Friday at 10 o'clock. During that time, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about your services, really understand a little bit more of your needs. Now, remember, Fujica, as we talked about earlier, your deposit will be required for your first and last week. Now, do you have any questions for me? Excellent. We will see you on Friday at 10 a.m. Now, if you do have any questions between now, so that concludes our 6 tips, but as I was talking, I've come up with a couple of bonus tips for you. The first bonus tip is practice, practice, practice. So remember, anything that's important, especially if, as I mentioned before, speaking is not something you really excel at. It's really something that you have to push yourself. You want to practice so that by the time that you go live and you're really having those conversations, you do appear confident and secure in what you're delivering. And so anyone who knows me knows if I am doing anything important, which trying to secure a client is important, speaking to a potential client is important. Any of those things require practice. If I'm delivering a presentation, I'm practicing. If I'm delivering a speech, I'm practicing. So you just want to make sure that you feel confident in what is your business, okay? The second bonus tip that I have for you is you're setting the tone. So this is something that I learned a long time ago too. Whenever you're talking, you want to be smiling, because even though that person can't see your smile, they can certainly hear it, right? So you just want to make sure that as you're delivering questions, as you're answering questions, as you're taking in that client's information, that you are kind, that you are warm, but also that you're focused and you're confident. Okay, so that is the last bonus tip that I have for you. Well, listen, I hope you did enjoy this video. I know I actually enjoyed putting this information together, because this is a question that I get a lot. A lot of you, especially when you're new, a lot of you get a little scared, get a little tensed up when it's actually time to start talking to these clients. So I'm hoping this video will help you. Okay, so I know I continue to get the question. A lot of you are sending me a direct message asking, when is my next class? I'm actually only doing 1 class this year. I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew last year. So we're doing 1 class, and that starts the first week of June. If you are interested, I do have a link in the video description. Right now, I'm just putting together a waiting list. As soon as I open enrollment, I will let you all know. Secondly, some of you do not need a class. You don't want a class. You just need assistance with licensing. If that's the case, I have a service available for you, and I will also have that in the video description. Lastly, if you liked the contents of this video, and I sincerely hope you did, please help me out by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. Thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. That's all I have for you today. Stay blessed.